Hey, how you doing, sir? Stop right there. Stop!
Before we get off to the races, let's talk about what led up to this confrontation. It all started a few weeks prior. I was typing away in the police station report writing room when this cop walks in holding some little sheets of paper with cartoons on them. So I decide to be nosy and I look over his shoulder and inquire about what he's up to and what those little papers are. So he tells me he just busted some guy for selling acid. That's what those little papers were, acid. So two things came to my mind when he used that word. Here's the first thing. And here's the second thing.
Take these,
what?
Man. Take these. This will mellow you out, man.
What is this, man?
Let's take them, man. Oh. Hey, don't take those, man.
What?
I almost gave you the wrong man.
Hey, man, I already took them, man.
Oh.
Hey, what do you mean? Whoa.
Wow, man.
Hey, what was that, man?
You just ate the most acid I've ever seen anybody eat in my life.
Hey, man, I never had no acid before, man.
Please, I hope you're not busy for about a month.
I'm gonna die, man.
So of course the type of acid my buddy was holding was more akin to the stuff Cheech just took, rather than the stuff that turns ordinary criminals into supervillains. So I'd never arrested an acid dealer before. I'd had some decent drug busts in my day. I'd arrested people for selling methamphetamine, cocaine, marijuana, heroin, magic mushrooms, testosterone, steroids, Xanax, and ecstasy, but never acid. So I thought it'd be pretty cool to arrest an acid dealer. But there wasn't much of that stuff going around in my city. It was all about speed and black tar heroin back then. But a week or so later, I had an unexpected meeting. I was on patrol when I got a radio call for a subject overdosing. When I get to the area, medics are already there, loading up the victim. The ambulance takes off, leaving the victim's car on the side of the road. And there's already 3 random people loaded up inside, ready to steal it. So I tell the guys inside the car to take a hike, I get the keys, and I drive to the hospital to give them to the overdose victim. While I'm there, I get to talking to the guy. So this guy tells me you can buy drugs on the internet. Craigslist, OfferUp, those sorts of websites. But to find the ads, you gotta know the lingo. Drug dealers can't actually write the word methamphetamine on their ads, because the websites will just take them down. So they use code words. For example, meth is called clear sealant, heroin is called black roofing tar, and acid is called Lucy. So I say cool. I write all that stuff down in my notebook like I always do, tell them good luck, and I leave. The next day, I'm browsing OfferUp and sure enough, there's people selling drugs. So I type in Lucy because I wanted to get that acid dealer, right? And sure enough, there's someone selling acid on OfferUp. So I start messaging the guy. Oh, in case you all don't know about acid, what it is those little paper squares there. Those are called tabs. You cut out one of those tabs and put it on your tongue. Then you trip out and see like rainbows and stuff, I guess. Or if you have a bad trip, you might see little goblins or something. And all those tabs connected together is called a sheet. Okay, so I start messaging the guy. You can see here I asked him if he had sheets. He says yes and gives me a price of $450. I think like 80 or 100 tabs come in a sheet. Anyways, I ask him if he has 2 sheets. We text back and forth a bit. I ask to meet, he says not today. I say tomorrow, he says perhaps. So tomorrow comes and we text some more. I say how's it looking, he says good. See, the thing you gotta know about drug dealers is that they work off of a different time zone. That's what makes these operations so tricky for a patrol officer. Check it out. In the continental US, you got your Eastern time zone, your Central time zone, your Mountain time zone, your Pacific time zone, and then you got your drug dealer time zone. See, while the other time zones are as predictable as the swing of a pendulum, the drug dealer time zone is erratic. It's affected by things like gas prices, hangovers, and motivation. So getting a drug dealer to meet you at a specific time and place is challenging. So finally this guy agrees to meet me. Then he asks if I'm affiliated with law enforcement. The fact that undercover police officers don't have to identify themselves as such has been well documented by Hollywood.
Are you a police officer?
No, I am not a police officer.
There you go. Enjoy.
Thanks, man.
Albuquerque police, you're under arrest. Get on the ground. Get on your stomach, now. On your stomach. Get on the ground.
Badger should have trusted his instincts. Breaking Bad has got it right. The courts have ruled that undercover police officers do not have to reveal that they are cops. Check out Lewis v. United States. This case involved an undercover federal agent who misrepresented his identity over the phone, was invited over to Mr. Lewis's house, gave Mr. Lewis $50, and left with 5 bags of marijuana. No, that's not a typo. You can spell marijuana like that if you want. So in this case, the U.S. Supreme Court stated, both petitioner and the government recognize the necessity for some undercover police activity, and both concede that the particular circumstances of each case govern the admissibility of evidence obtained by stratagem or deception. Indeed, it has long been acknowledged by the decisions of this court that, in the detection of many types of crime, the government is entitled to use decoys and to conceal the identity of its agents. Indeed, you can read case law all the way back to 1895 on this issue if you want. Grimm v. United States involves a case where a postal inspector, using a false name, mailed a letter to William Grimm requesting a price list of lewd photographs Mr. Grimm apparently had in his possession. Why the myth prevails that a cop has to tell you he is a cop if asked, I couldn't say. I can only say for certain that the myth does indeed prevail. So anyways, eventually the dealer gives me a description of himself and says he's at the hotel. So now I got a description of the guy, his location, and his agreement to sell me 2 sheets of acid. That equals reasonable suspicion to detain him and probable cause to search him. Which brings us to where we left off at the beginning. Since I have reasonable suspicion to detain him, my order to stop right there was lawful. Thus, his refusal to follow that order was illegal. Now I have probable cause to arrest him. If I can catch him, that is.
Comfort in. Going to the concrete and suites. Foot pursuit on the sidewalk. Southbound. Male white, long brown hair, black, green flannel, shorts. On your face. On your face. Don't move, alright? Don't move your hands!
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Can I get up? I won't. I'm so sorry.
152, code 4, in custody.
I'm so sorry. Can I please get up?
No, not
Please.
yet. Not yet. I'm tired.
Please. I don't get to.
I'm catching my breath.
I want my mom. I want my mom.
Is she here?
No. I want my mom. Help. I'm sorry.
Hey!
I'm sorry!
Hey, ma'am!
I'm sorry!
What's next?
So this guy is already under arrest for obstructing a police officer, and those little pieces of foil on the ground had the acid sheets inside. He threw them just before he got tackled. Here's what was inside. So as soon as I picked those up, I have probable cause for an arrest for possession of acid for sale.
What's the name of this hotel? 152. I'm in the copy of the country.
I'm sorry!
Stop yelling! Stop yelling! Stop that!
I'm gonna kill myself! Ow! Please get me out of this vent.
So I guess the vent from that cooler was blowing hot air in his face. That's probably part of the reason he was screaming. It was something I didn't realize until he said it.
152 lobby,
Please,
country, and then suites.
please.
Stop.
Please, sir.
Stop
Please
moving.
get my face out of this vent.
So So anyways, we get him up and start walking him away. He slips out of one of his cuffs because he's skinny and I didn't tighten it enough. That's what you get for being too nice sometimes. So we wrestle him down and handcuff him again. He cries for his mom a few more times and we walk him to the car and I search him. The Fourth Amendment of the United States Constitution says, "The right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrants shall issue, but upon probable cause, supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched and the persons or things to be seized." So a government agent cannot search a person without a warrant, and a warrant cannot be issued without probable cause. So what gives? Clearly I didn't have a search warrant. Like we discussed in episode 15, the Fourth Amendment is more clearly defined and interpreted through case law. The U.S. Supreme Court case United States v. Robinson held that, in the case of a lawful custodial arrest, a full search of the person is not only an exception to the warrant requirement of the Fourth Amendment, but is also a reasonable search under that amendment. This type of search is called a search incident to arrest. The court recognizes two functions of the search incident to arrest. Number 1, the removal of weapons the arrestee might use to resist arrest or effect an escape. Number 2, the seizure of evidence or fruits of the crime for which the arrest is made, so as to prevent their concealment or destruction. So that's it for the arrest. I pack up Anthony and send him away. I figure Anthony probably drove to the hotel, so I go looking for his car. So what do you think? Do I need a warrant to search Anthony's car? Let's take a look at United States v. Ross. In this case, the court held that police officers who have legitimately stopped an automobile and who have probable cause to believe that contraband is concealed somewhere within it may conduct a warrantless search of the vehicle that is as thorough as a magistrate could authorize by warrant. So do I have probable cause to believe that contraband is concealed in Anthony's car? Yes. He showed up to a hotel to sell me some acid, so he's probably got more drugs in his car. But wait, when I contacted Anthony, he was sitting outside his car in the parking lot, not driving it. The case Cardwell v. Lewis provides some insight on this. In this case, police called Arthur Lewis to the police station to interview him about a murder. Mr. Lewis parked his car in a commercial parking lot near the station. After his interview, he was arrested. Without a warrant, police seized his car, took it to a police impound lot, and examined the outside of the car for evidence. The U.S. Supreme Court ruled these actions constitutional. Thus, for police to conduct a warrantless search of a vehicle, they need two things: probable cause to believe the vehicle contains evidence of a crime, and legal access to the vehicle. So there we go. I search his car. I believe that was ecstasy. And that was a mailbox key to a UPS store. So that was pretty much it for the search. I believe there are a few more acid tabs in there as well. A month or so later, I got called to a preliminary hearing for this case. Before the hearing, Anthony pled guilty to possession of acid for sale. He received about 90 days in jail and a couple years of probation. As part of Anthony's probation, he agreed to waive his Fourth Amendment rights. That means a law enforcement officer can search his property at any time, without a warrant or probable cause. Remember that mailbox key I found? So I leave the hearing, go to the station, and check his mailbox key out from the evidence locker. I go to the UPS store, open his mailbox, and there's a package in there containing this. I never figured out what that stuff was. I got busy with other cases and decided not to pursue it any further. If you know what was in Anthony's mailbox, drop a comment for me. And that is it for episode 16 of The Force Review. If you enjoyed this episode, please hit that subscribe button. We will have many more educational police videos coming out for you soon. Thanks for watching, and I will see you on the next one.